welcome to Navigating the 9 to 5. My name's Tess, and as usual, I'll be your host for today. Today, we are talking about the 5-step formula to getting promoted at work. So, this is something that I've created, which is something that I wish that I had access to when I was in the working world. It's also basically the kind of my 17 years experience within the corporate world, within the working world, condensed down into a really simple formula for you to follow. But it's also the stuff that your manager and your boss and your company probably won't tell you. So if you want to get promoted at work this year, this is for you. Keep listening and also share it with a friend who you know wants to get ahead in their role as well. So there are 5 parts to this. Part 1, finding clarity. Part 2, conquering your mindset. Part 3 is all about key leadership capabilities. Part 4 is about making it happen. And part 5 is about amplifying it all with a little sprinkle of magic. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. So part 1, finding clarity. This is all about, there's kind of a few parts to basically a few sections to each of the parts. So finding clarity is all about who you are. So when I was in the working world, I spent 3 years working towards a promotion I was absolutely gunning for, but I didn't realise that actually went against everything that I was good at, everything that I naturally enjoyed. All I wanted was kind of the ego, the status, and more money and a better title kind of thing. So that's why I was gunning for this promotion, but actually it was nothing to do with me. When I took the time to step back, when I got really burnt out at work and basically stopped going for that promotion, I took the time to get back in touch with who I am, what I'm good at, what I love, what I naturally enjoy, and that is where the magic happened. So part 1 is all about who you are and what you want. So who you are, like I said, is kind of what you're good at, what you love naturally, what you're naturally interested in, all those kind of things, because that is the beginning of taking back control and getting back in touch with who you really are. We go a lot deeper than that, but they're the main things. The second part of it is, what do you actually want at the moment? What's right for you in this kind of phase of life? So, and also a little bit more about kind of how you want to work. So for example, if you're like a new parent or if you're kind of free and carefree and want to kind of travel the world, then why not redesign a working life around that? You can absolutely do that. You can absolutely have all these things. All it takes is the first part, which is getting clear on what you actually want. The second and third part are really important. So third and fourth part. Third part is what you admire in brilliant leaders around you. So this will indicate how you want to show up as a leader. What you admire in others is actually what we want to kind of create within ourselves. And the fourth bit is, what are the options within your current role? So the sad reality is that sometimes in some roles it's dead man's shoes above you. And that means that you can't move up unless somebody above you moves up. So this is really sad that this is the case in some companies, because that really means that essentially no matter how hard you work, you're not going to move up, you're not going to get promoted. So the reality is that we need to understand what that looks like, because there are ways around it. You can move sideways, you can move other ways. You just need to know what's actually possible. So if it's the promotion that you're going for, we need to work out which route that is. So that is part 1, finding clarity. Part 2 is all about mindset. So the first part of this is taking responsibility. And I do this a lot with my clients. So one of the first questions I will ask them is, do you think you're taking responsibility? And every single one of them will say yes. And then we'll kind of start talking about what it is that they're doing at the moment, things that are going on. And every single time, what will happen when they tell me kind of the reality of where they are and what's going on is they will say, well, I can't do X because of Y. And that, my friends, is a limiting belief. And it's also where we're not taking responsibility. So where we say I can't do something because of something or someone else, that means you're not taking responsibility. And there's one very simple way that we can start to do this, and that is by cultivating a growth mindset. So a growth mindset is where somebody with a growth mindset is a person that sees problems as challenges that can be overcome, rather than a fixed mindset where we see problems as things that are going to stop us doing the thing that we want to do, and we kind of don't basically take it any further than that. We just think that means it's not possible. But that is not the case, my friend. Cultivate yourself a growth mindset, and we do this by using the word how. So it's really simple change, but it's really empowering. It puts you back in control, gives you agency, and that is kind of where the magic happens. So, for example, I can't get if you're limiting belief or if you're not taking responsibility and you hear yourself saying things like, I can't get promoted at work because my boss is a dick, or I can't get promoted at work because um I don't know, my boss is stopping me from getting there. I used to think all that, by the way. Um, then the reality is that we can take responsibility for this. We can cultivate a growth mindset and we can say things like, okay, how can I get promoted? How can I make this possible for me? And this becomes obviously a question which we can then go ahead and answer, but we can answer it with more questions. So things like, how can I get promoted? Who can I speak to perhaps that's already there? What resources are around me that I can kind of read and basically, understand the paths to get there. What else is there? What can I do? What can I upskill in? Who can I speak to? How can I make sure that, when it comes to the end of the year to get promoted, that I am basically in a really good position to make that happen? And thankfully for you, over the next however many minutes of this episode, I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to do. So that's your first thing. But yeah, it's all about using the word how and putting you back in control. The third part of mindset is shifting your paradigm. So this is based on some really exciting work by a brilliant man called Dr. Benjamin Hardy. He's a kind of authority on identity and kind of shifting your paradigm and all that sort of stuff. And he's absolutely brilliant. And this is about becoming your future self now. So there's a lot of talk around kind of, dressing for the job you want, but it's taking that like many, many steps further. So things like having done the piece of finding clarity and knowing where you want to be and kind of who you want to show up as and what kind of leader you want to be, then we do things like hacking your morning routine to show up today as that person who you've defined as who you want to be or kind of where you want to be. So things like your morning routine might consist of getting up and doing exercise first thing, or having a nutritious breakfast, or maybe spending time meditating or in gratitude. And this is an amazing thing that kind of hacks the mind and starts creating evidence in the brain that we are already becoming this person, that we actually are already this person. So we become our future self now. We shift our paradigm. And so a paradigm is kind of our experience, our attitude. Not attitude. That's not quite the right word. What's what I'm looking for? Our perspective. That's what I'm looking for. Our perspective of what's going on. But actually, we can shift that. We can decide today that we want to become our future self now, and we do that by things like hacking our morning routine. And that's really cool. That's really good fun stuff. The fourth and final part of mindset is about remembering that we don't have to be the expert. So actually, becoming a leader means that you have more expertise, like different expertise around kind of bringing people together to solve problems, bringing people together to identify problems. What else is there? You don't need to know the kind of absolute, nth degree level detail of every single thing that's going on in your business. In fact, you can't possibly know that. But what you do need to know is who the people are within the business that know all of these things so that you don't have to, so that you can kind of have some sort of visibility across and around the top that sort of brings everybody together. Like I said, to help solving problems, because most of being a leader is actually solving problems. It's thinking about the future. It's, all that sort of stuff. And the things that are going to stop you getting to where you want the business to get to. Okay, so that's part two, mindset. Part three, key leadership capabilities. So this will depend on where you are in your career, obviously, where you need to upskill. But what I think is really interesting about this is that most of us will be told within our kind of working life that basically, if you want to kind of step up to the next level, they will always over index on kind of key leadership capabilities. And this is obviously where you need to upskill. But actually, key leadership capabilities is only one part of my 5-part process, my 5-part formula. So Yes, they are important, and depending on where you are in your career, they will be more important probably if you're more junior because there's more to learn, there's more to experience, but they will be less important if you've got a bit more experience under your belt. So don't forget that. But what I think is kind of um, underrated in in terms of key leadership capabilities is probably three things. So the first one is thinking. So I think, oh, there you go. One of the things that I realized around me um, later on in my career is that people that are really good leaders spend a lot of time thinking. They're not doing. They're not doing the doing. They have other people to do that, or they've outsourced, or they've automated, or they've delegated, whatever it is, all the stuff that needs doing. Actually, the more senior you get, the more less the less doing you do. It's because it needs to make time for thinking. And thinking is really important, like I was just talking about around the kind of mindset piece. One of the most important things as a leader is to think about all the things that, well, firstly, kind of where you want to get to as a business, but it's also thinking about the stuff that's going to stop you from getting there. So things like exactly as I said, kind of problems that are within the workplace, and these revolve usually around four R's. So it's risk, reputation, revenue, and retention. And revenue and retention. So obviously revenue is about making money, retention is about people, and risk and reputation are kind of similar around what's going to essentially stop you from getting there. So as a leader in a business, you have all these aims, you have this vision, you have the kind of goals that you want to achieve. And what's really important is to think about the problems and the things that are going to stop you from getting there, or the problems and things that are stopping you from getting there as quickly or as efficiently as you might be able to. So thinking is a really, really important part. And what's one of the things that you can do today to hack it is basically make time in your diary every week for thinking. So I used to do this on a Friday afternoon where there's not very many meetings. And I used to do a quick retro for the week. So retrospective, which is just looking back. I used to think about what went well, what didn't go so well, what I've learned, and what I really enjoyed, stuff like that. And then I also used to take time thinking about problems that I had noticed or things that had come up in the week that might impact things going forward. And yeah, the most important part of this is just making time to do it and really, really defending that time within your diary because it's really easy not to do that. So that's the first bit. The second bit is strategy. So, strategy, quite simply, is about the how of achieving your objective. So, like I said, all leaders will set a vision or a goal, and the strategy is how you achieve that. So, a lot of big companies really, really overcomplicate strategy. They have huge, huge teams about, kind of setting strategy, all that sort of stuff. But it's as simple as how you achieve your objectives. And one of the most important parts about strategy is having a strategic framework that you can fall back on to help you strategically kind of align your thoughts. And one of the ones that I love is called SOSTAC. It's from the Chartered Institute of Marketing when I studied through my chartership there many, many years ago. And SOSTAC is literally just an acronym to help you remember. So SOSTAC. The first S is for situation. This is all about what's happening at the moment. Where are you now? The first O is for objectives. So this is where do you want to get to? The second S is for strategy, which is all about how you get there. So this is just a top line summary of how you're going to get there, how you're going to achieve your objectives. T is for tactics. This is the detail of how you're going to achieve your objectives. A is for action. And this is all about what you need in order to achieve your objective. So it's usually things like money, people, other resources, I don't know, machinery, whatever it is that you do in terms of like sort of relevant to the business. And then the last C is all about control. And this is a simple, this just means how do you kind of control? How do you measure whether or not you've achieved it? And actually, that side of strategy. So when you go into a business and you're asked to write a strategy for whatever team, company, whatever that you look after, all it needs is a really good framework to help you organize your thoughts. I've worked with many people that have great strategic ideas in their head, but they can't put them down they can't sort of put pen to paper because they don't have a formula to follow in order to succinctly organize their thoughts. And that does exactly that for you. Then the third piece around key leadership capabilities, key leadership capabilities is people. So, like I said, leaders are kind of most concerned around the four R's, and people is obviously a huge part of that. So, kind of the third and most important thing I think is around kind of people and empathy and communication sort of thing. So, like I said, all related with people. And one of the things that you can do here is a basically kind of a way to sort of get to know you and your team in terms of your communication style, but also that of your team as well. And there's loads of different ways that you can do this, and like Myers-Briggs and brilliant colors and various things. Um, the one that I like is actually a variation of brilliant colors because it's super simple and it basically categorizes people into four main colors. You do a really simple test and then it basically helps you understand what type of communicator you are. And each of those colors stands for a different thing. So red is sort of really direct, blue is empathy, green is inquire, and yellow is order. And what's really important to note is that like you will probably over index in one of them. Some people don't. I absolutely did. But it's just a really simple way of kind of helping to understand how you communicate, but also how to communicate with others to get the best out of them. It's not about kind of categorizing people into, certain types. It's about understanding how to best work together. And actually, the whole point of it is that a team works best together when there's a bit of everything, when there's every single color kind of within it, because you have people that over-index in certain skill sets, which means that the team can kind of come together and work really well and really cohesively. So that's key leadership capabilities. Like I said, there's also a shit ton more that sits behind that because depending on where you are on your journey, you may want other support as well. So yeah, that's key leadership capabilities. The fourth part is all about making it happen. So this is what they won't tell you in the corporate world, but this is what's the most important thing. So there are a few areas of this, but the aim of it, the overall aim of this part four, making it happen, is to make you a no-brainer when it comes to the end of the year and getting promoted. So first of all, what we want to do is we want to hold our manager to account. So the first thing, if we want to get promoted at work, is to tell your manager that you want to get promoted this year, if you haven't already, and also ask for their support and their backing in doing so. So I used to say this kind of to my manager, and I was like, right, I want to get promoted at the end of the year. What do I need to do? And when I was really young, one of them was like, oh, you need to be more strategic. And I was like, what the fuck does that mean? How do I, what does that even mean? How do I do that? And then, but at the time, I was like, well, I'm the idiot for not knowing what it means to be more strategic. So I didn't ask anybody. So the holding your manager to account is all about kind of finding clarity from them, getting absolute clarity from them. So if they give you kind of really vague feedback, if they, say things to like they did to me around kind of, just be more strategic and then you'll do it, whatever, that is not helpful. Give me specifics. So use phrases like, can you tell me what you'd like me to do more of? Can you tell me what you'd like me to do less of in terms of actually getting promoted? The second and most important thing is around a visibility strategy. So this helps you identify key decision makers in the business and become more visible to those people for the right reasons. So if you are being a busy fool, which I've done many an episode on and I talk about a lot, then you are not going to get recognized for the right reasons. So being a busy fool is focusing on the kind of low quality, work that that it does exactly what it says on the tin, makes you look like a busy fool. So you'll think that you're really busy, but you're not actually doing the important or the high quality work. And the high quality work, the high impact work, is the stuff that works, that contributes directly towards your objectives. So if the work that you're doing is things like taking minutes in meetings, repetitive tasks that can easily be automated, are always present on Slack or Teams or whatever your internal messenger system is, always present on emails, kind of quick to respond, all that sort of stuff, that is not going to get you promoted. We don't want to be visible for that work. We want to be visible for what you are doing to directly contribute towards the objectives, towards the goals that the company has. We want to focus on the high impact work because that is the important stuff. That's what's going to get you promoted. So that's the kind of two main things for kind of making it happen. There's also other things like I said, kind of clarity over the specifics of what's required, and also kind of using your initiative to find the resources that are within the company. So lots of companies, bigger companies more so than the smaller ones, will have intranets and all sorts of files and folders coming out their ears around what it is that you actually need to do to progress along a certain pathway. And it's up to you basically to find that out. It's up to you to take responsibility, as we said, one of the main things around mindset, and to find out what is actually required. Because I've worked in a few different companies, some of which are really prescriptive, which is really helpful. They are really clear about what you need to do. So it might be that actually all the answers to all the questions that you've got already exist in a company document. So, do stuff like that as well and find out. Make it happen. Make it happen. And then part 5 is where the magic happens. So we amplify it all with a little sprinkle of magic. So for those of you that know me, I hugely believe in the incredible power of combining science, strategy, spiritual principles, and a little sprinkle of magic to basically help you redesign a working life that lights you up. And what we've done in the first 4 parts is the strategy and the science. So the science is the kind of experiments of like doing different things and seeing what works. And then this is where mindset is a little bit kind of the spiritual side of things. So, shifting your paradigm, all that sort of stuff. That's kind of the, believing that you're already there. And then we come to the little sprinkle of magic and also the sort of spiritual side. And this is things like like I said, we create the strategy and then we amplify it all with things like a feng shui practice. So in feng shui, depending on which sort of type you believe in, the home is split into 9 areas, and this is called the bagua, which is basically the kind of energy centers of each of the area of the home. So if you want to get promoted at work, you need to focus on your north area and your southeast area. So north is all about career and kind of life's journey, and southeast is about abundance and prosperity, because hopefully getting a promotion will also mean more money. So one of the things that you can do is basically kind of identify these areas within your home. And you do that by standing in the middle of your home with your phone, your what's it called? iPhone, not iPhone necessarily. What's the word I'm looking for? Smartphone. So with your smartphone, literally on the palm of your hand, open up the Compass app. I couldn't find it when I tried this, but you just search for it and it comes up. I'm pretty sure they're on most phones. Anyway, stand in the middle of your home, Compass app open on your phone, and literally walk as far as you can in the direction of north and southeast to identify those areas. And then, for example, in the southeast area, you might want to create a prosperity bowl or a prosperity area. So clean the area first of all, make sure you get rid of any dust, declutter it, make it look beautiful, look pretty. And in its place in the southeast, for example, for attracting abundance, I put a prosperity bowl there, which is a mirrored bowl, because mirrors in feng shui are really important. They amplify whatever is in front of them, or on top of them in this case. I had a mirrored bowl, think like a stainless steel cooking bowl, and filled it in with money, currency, anything that kind of meant abundance to me. And so you can do that, and you leave that in the southeast area. And then in the north area, in the career area, you might want to think about what's important for your career for you and put something there that signifies that. So I'm just trying to think, if you want to get promoted, maybe it's I don't know, a picture of a check for a bonus for however much money, or it's, I don't know, a picture of a new title that you want or something, or a picture of you wearing, I don't know, a suit or whatever it is that you want to do at work, or winning an award or writing a book or whatever it is that you want to achieve. Put that in your north area. Um, and then another thing that we can do for amplifying all with a sprinkle of magic is things like leveraging the power of the laws of the universe to work for us rather than against us. And then we could also look at things like gratitude, so leveraging the power of gratitude. And this is based on the book The Secret by Rhonda Byrne and The Magic by Rhonda Byrne. So depending on what you believe in, I challenge you to try this because I have tried this a few times now, and every single time gratitude has um, done some slightly mental things for me. Um, so bring gratitude into your daily life. Think about how you can do that, especially in terms of work and money, for example, if you want to get a big pay rise as well. So you could spend time. Firstly, you could do the book, The Magic. It's a 28-day gratitude process and it's absolutely amazing. It's hard work, but it's really, really good. And it's incredibly powerful. Like I said, each time I've done it, which is 2 or 3 times now, like really major things have happened. So bring it, like I said, you can read the book, or you can spend time doing intentional gratitude practices around things that you love at work at the moment. So if you have been in a really negative mindset, which is around like, I can't get promoted at work because my boss is a dick, or because my boss is stopping me from doing things, or because I don't know, not getting invited to the meetings, or I'm not good enough, or I'm not this or this or this or whatever. If you're getting in your head about it, bring gratitude in, because it's a really, really great way to shift from negative to positive. So one of the ways that you can bring gratitude in is to literally make a list of stuff that you're grateful for your job right now. And you can do this in the morning or in the evening or both if you want to. And you can talk about loads of things. The fact that you maybe have a nice office to go to, that you work with nice people, that you do work that's interesting to you. Yes, you want to do more of that. You want to get promoted, all that sort of stuff. But we have to be grateful for what we have right now. And this is because it works into the law of attraction. So the law of attraction is that like attracts like. And the reason that gratitude is so powerful is that when we are in a place of gratitude, we are in a place of giving. So we are giving thanks for what we have. And when we're in a place of giving, the universe, because of the wonderful law of attraction and like attracts like, the universe reflects that back to us. So it gives us things in return. So try that, try some gratitude, try thinking right now. You could take 5 minutes after this about 10 things that you're grateful for at work. And really importantly, think about why. Why are you grateful for these things? So I'm really grateful for the office to go to, which perhaps sometimes you don't want to go to as often as you do, or maybe you do, I don't know. But maybe because it's got free coffee, free tea and coffee, or it's warm when it's a cold day outside, or it's cool when it's a hot day outside. Because it kind of brings everybody together, because it's got amazing equipment, because it's, got meeting rooms that you guys can get together as a team in, all that sort of thing. All these things that we so take for granted. So try and be a bit more intentional about that and see how it goes. So that was a quick run through of my 5-part formula. Like I said, clarity, conquering your mindset, key leadership capabilities, making it happen, amplifying it all with a little sprinkle of magic. These are the 5 things that will get you promoted at work. If you're interested about going deeper in this, I am actually bringing together all of this into something called the Leadership Accelerator, which I am so excited to announce. This is basically where it's kind of going to be a portal that you can log into to have access to all of this amazing work that will be in 15 minutes, short, sharp, really accessible, really achievable, really affordable, kind of short, sharp sections that you can listen to kind of in the car on the way to pick up children from school, or in the car on the way to the train station, or even kind of when you're walking the dog in the morning, whatever. You can do all of this in a really accessible way. And I am looking for people to test this. So if you're interested in getting promoted at work and you want access to this for free, I'm offering this to just 10 people for free because I want to get some feedback on it. Then drop me a message to test@lightmeup.club because I would love to hear from you. I'd love for you to test this for me. So, this brings us to the end of the episode. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for listening. If you liked it, if you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe and give us a follow, depending on whatever it is that you're watching or listening to this. Thank you so much for being here. Yeah, like I said, if you're interested in getting promoted, please also drop me a message to Tess at Light Me Up, and you can test all of this for free. So we go really, really deep into each of these areas, but in a really super accessible way. So yeah, thank you so much for being here, and I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you next time. Bye.